Hello and welcome to All My Friends Are Reading, the podcast for The Busy Bookworm. I'm Wylie, and I am here to tell you all about that book that your friends are reading, all those books that you are seeing on Instagram. And today I'm here with my friend Marcos.
Hello.
Marcos, we are friends.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We've been friends for a minute now.
That's really affirming to hear because this is actually secretly a podcast. Make sure all my friends are recorded saying that they like me.
I love you.
Oh my God, thank you. I love you.
Well, I hope so.
Would you like to tell the Busy Bookworms how we met?
Yeah. I mean, we go way back to a tiny little place in the Pacific Coast. Was that where we were?
Yes, I think we were up north of California, I think.
Somewhere beautiful and amazing. It was
St. Aptos.
Oh, Aptos. That's where it is. Yes. Along the Santa Cruz coast. And I mean, right there, it says it all. I mean, meeting in beautiful places, doing beautiful things. We were on a social justice retreat.
Yes.
So, and I was presenting, I was leading some facilitation type things. And Wylie, you were just there to imbibe all the goodness that was happening. It was great.
You led us in a fishbowl exercise, and I remember that very, very well.
Yeah, let's just say shit got real. Can we cuss on this?
You can cuss on this.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Perfect.
no,
Yeah,
I think it's great. So today we're talking about a book that is really everywhere right now. It's called A Court of Thorn and Roses. So this book is written by Sarah J. Maas, and people will call her books like the Maas verse because she has two series right now, A Court of Thorn and Roses and Crescent City, where she is she's kind of doing like a multiple timelines, like Avengers thing, where she's had the books overlap, and now some of the characters from Crescent City are in Court of Thorn and Roses, and apparently she's trying to also incorporate her first book series, A Throne of Glass.
Oh, wow. This sounds epic, and the author has been thinking about this for a long time.
She has. It is very Avengers style-esque,
Right.
kind of being like, oh my God, there's Iron Man and there's Hulk. So this is going to start you off with the one that I think everyone is really obsessed with.
Perfect.
So this book is it is a romance fantasy.
Love
so it's romantasy. I think Fourth Wing is technically a romantasy where the romance is just as important as the action. Our main character's name is Feyre, and she is living with her dad and her sisters, Nesta and Elaine, at kind of like the end of the world, essentially. Like they are poor. They are in this village, but they're kind of on the outskirts of the village. And they live really close to what's called the Wall. And the Wall divides the like immortal fairy world from the mortal world.
I'm into it.
Yeah, some people actually like don't super believe in like the fae, the fairy anymore. Like you haven't seen them in a while. That wall has been built for like 500 years.
Got it.
So what you need to know right now is that Feyre is 19 years old and she's keeping the family alive. Like Nesta is being the worst. She's the oldest. She just complains. Elaine really likes to garden, but she only makes like flowers and stuff. She doesn't actually like.
It's very inefficient.
Very inefficient for people who are going to starve.
If we're struggling, potatoes, carrots,
cabbage,
peppers, romaine lettuce. Come on.
Yeah.
Give me something.
Something that we can pickle, honestly.
Now, I mean, let me ask you this. Can she sell her flowers? Are they,
I'm going to be honest. No.
Okay.
The city's very poor. They're not really big flowers.
I don't know. Maybe I'm going on a tangent here, but the luxury of beauty. Am I like, maybe zooming out too much, but it sucks to be poor. And when you're struggling, it's like maybe poor people should be able to have beauty. So
that's true.
I'm not going to hate on her growing flowers.
Okay, actually, that's a really good point, and I will take back what I said about Elaine.
Okay, great.
So their family actually used to be very rich until her dad ended up losing all of their money.
Gambling?
No, he had made a really bad business deal.
Gambled.
Kind of gambling. So Nesta and Elaine both remember being rich, and I think that's hard for them to let go of. Feyre, our main character, doesn't.
Yeah, she didn't have. So they must have lost it when she was little.
Very little, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm with it.
So she's taking care of her family, and also just this isn't like super important right now, but Nesta like hates Feyre. And it's not explained about till many books later, but Nesta doesn't get along with Feyre.
All right. A little sibling rivalry. So I can kind of feel this like Nesta Feyre energy. I mean, the worst one was when I got this like mad rug burn all over my face.
Did someone like ground your face into the carpet?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty bad. That's pretty funny.
It was bad. Yeah. I don't think I think we were just playing around though. It wasn't like out of spite, or this was just like, oops. And it was a bad oops. Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. So any of that with Nesta and Feyre?
No.
Okay. No rug burns. Poor people can't afford carpet. Sorry. That was bad. In this, fantastical universe, is there carpet, or are we like in?
This is a great question. This is the real questions. I don't know what their floor is made out of.
I mean, let's write the author. We need to get those details.
I will be like, what kind of floor did Feyre have in book 1? I'm assuming they have carpet. As we go on, some people have carpet. They just don't think a lot of attention gets put to the floor.
Interesting.
So we're in the beginning. We're like in the first chapter, and this one day she takes down this giant wolf in the woods. There's something about this wolf where she looks in the eye and she's like, this wolf might be a fairy. And she really fucking hates fairies for some reason.
Interesting.
It's not really explained that well as to why, but I think she's just like, I just really hate this guy. And so she shoots it and she's like, it can't be fairy. Like no one's ever seen one. It's probably just a wolf. So she takes this giant wolf home and uses it to like feed her family. But also she's going to sell the wolf because like that's pretty good money to find something with a huge pelt.
Yeah.
A lot of meat.
Right.
So later that night, as her family is feasting like on what she's bought at the store, on the meat of this wolf, a huge beast runs down their door.
Whoa.
It is huge. It has large horns and talons. Its body is like a bear, but it has kind of like a lion head.
Wow.
And he breaks down the door and he's like, who killed my soldier?
Whoa.
Because like Feyre is now like, oh shit. Like he means this wolf. And he is like, you took the life of one of my soldiers, according to this 500-year-old treaty that you don't know because you are an illiterate 18-year-old. That means that you forfeit your life, and you have 2 options. You can either die right now, or you can go and I will take you to the fairyland, which is called Paranth. I'm not quite sure. I just call them the fairylands. So Marcos, there's a huge beast at your door screaming at your family that you've protected all times. Are you going to sacrifice your life right now, or do you want to go to the fairylands?
I mean, fairylands, of course. Yeah. I mean, I love adventure. I'd go to the fairylands, especially if it means protecting my family, right? Because the alternative is death. And let's be honest. I mean, I don't got a lot to live for, right? But I take that back. I'm living to protect my family, right? That's a lot of purpose.
That's something, yeah.
So
that's fair.
But if I go to the fairyland, is my family going to be okay?
He promises Feyre that your family will be left alone.
But can they fend for themselves? I mean, like, real talk, like they're struggling. I'm like carrying all the weight for them.
The beast also promises to take care of her family.
Like financially, like gonna take care of them.
I know he says take care of them. We know that it's financial. I don't actually know if he says that to Feyre at the beginning, but it's like financial. They're not going to have like any memory that she left.
Fascinating. All right. That's revealing. I want to know more.
Okay. Well, you will eventually. But if Feyre agrees with you, she's like, okay, I'm going to go with him because what if I go with him and then I can manage to escape and go back to my family and take care of them? Because I don't super trust this beast is correct. And I also don't trust fairies. So they make the long trek back to his land. It is like over the wall and through the forest and through the woods all the way to Grandma's house. And they come back and he transforms into a human form.
Whoa.
And he's kind of hot.
All right.
He has blonde hair. He's strong. He's tall. He's tanned. He does have this one weird thing, though. He has a mask on his face, like a masquerade mask.
Interesting.
And it's just over his eyes. And Bear doesn't ask about that because she's like really not interested in getting to know him.
Yeah.
And he lives in this huge estate. It's bigger than anything Feyre has seen before.
This is in the fairyland.
It's in the fairyland. So he lives in a huge estate.
All right.
Big walls, lots of carpet, assumedly.
Man.
Paintings. It's so there is this other fairy that's there who is also really tall and tanned. And he has red hair. He has a scar on his face and a gold eye, like kind of Mad Moody style, and a mask. But he looks more like a fox. So she often refers to him as like this fox-faced guy.
Interesting. Also wearing a mask?
Also wearing a mask.
Fascinating.
She does not ask.
Do not ask about the mask.
And one of the things that she also mentioned, that is mentioned in this story that I will mention to you right now, is that there has been a blight on the land for the last like 50 years.
On the fairyland.
Mm-hmm. And that limits their magic a little bit.
Gotcha. But it is magic that transformed this character from the beast into their human form. So
yes, he has the
shapeshifters.
He is one of the fairy that have the ability to shapeshift. So she learns that this is called the Spring Court, and there are a total of 9 courts, which we will not learn about in this book, but they're in the Spring Court, which is the lowest on like territory from like how the land looks. So it's the one that's closest to the wall.
Gotcha.
And our blonde-headed mystery man is Tamlin, and he is the High Lord of the Spring Court, which means basically he's the king. He's a dictator. He's not officially elected. He is through bloodline and right.
Of the Spring Court.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the Spring Court, that's the place where they live?
Yeah, he is in charge of the Spring Court. And so all the courts have different vibes. Like there's a night court, so it's dark there. And there's like a dawn court, and it's always dawn.
Got it.
There's a winter, summer, or fall.
All in the fairylands.
All in the fairylands. Different, kind of like different states, essentially.
Do they compete? Are they...
Actually, more like Hunger Games when you think about the different districts where they're all connected, but they're different areas.
Got you. Okay. I'm with it.
So Feyre's just like hanging around the Spring Court. He's like, do whatever you want. Like, I took your life. You're here. It's beautiful. It's full of flowers. She's trying to find ways to escape, but she's thwarted at every turn. Like Tamlin and Lucian are like kind of laughing at her. Lucian is the red-haired guy.
Gotcha. The fox face.
Yes, fox face guy. And one day she's like, how do I get the answers I want? Everybody's really dodgy about this. And she goes to Lucian and she's like, hey, how do I find the answers to what I want? He's like, you could always ask a Suriel. And she's like, what's a Suriel? He's like, well, it's this creature that knows everything. And if you catch it, it will answer your questions. And he's like, you just need like a dead chicken and a rope and you can catch it. So she sets a trap for this Suriel. And a Suriel, like how I imagine how this looks, is kind of Grim Reaper-y, where it has a cloak on. You can't really see its face, but when you do, it looks kind of like ghostly and decayed.
In human form? Animal form?
Human form. Grim Reaper-y.
Got you.
And the Suriel tells her, like, stop trying to escape. You and your family will die if you keep doing that. And then it also says to her, stay close to the High Lord and then you'll be safe.
Interesting.
And she's like, okay.
Do you mind if we go back real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Is she imprisoned or is she able to free roam around this opulent place with many carpets?
She's like free roam.
Okay.
But it's dangerous for her to go outside the estate without somebody because she doesn't really know all the creatures that are there.
Got it.
The creatures that are there are not super fond of humans.
Because of this like 500-year.
They see them as like beneath them and stuff. Like there's a lot of monsters around that would like to eat her.
Gotcha. All right.
Right? You're like, she's allowed to go where she wants, but they're like, it's not a good idea.
But Tamlin wants her for a special purpose.
catching on.
All right. Let's keep
You're
going.
like, huh, this little flimsy excuse of a life for life seems just like that. Flimsy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So Tamlin is like trying to connect with her a little bit. Like he's being friendly, but he's being like really awkward.
Interesting. Is Tamlin also around the same age as her?
No, this is a fairy world. He's like hundreds of years old.
Got you. So, but in terms of his features, you said he was kind of debonair, good looking, kind of
I'd say
muscular.
he's like probably the perfect age, which is 29.
Oh, interesting. Can I ask, is there some vibes between them?
There are some vibes, but it's mostly like he's being really awkward and she's like really distrusting.
It's not like Stockholm syndrome where she's like falling in love with her captor.
Not yet, but
All right.
so after she asked about the cereal, she is suddenly surrounded by these monsters that like want to eat her. And so she releases the cereal because she has empathy and she's like, I don't want to leave this guy to die. And they chase her. And she manages to kill 2 of them before Tamlin rescues her and like carries her back to the manor. Like he arrives in his beast form. He rips them apart. She is like, oh my God, we just like fought these bad guys together. Oh my God, that's kind of hot that he just like saved me right now.
Yeah.
He also, when he transforms, he's like bare chested and she's like, hello.
Yeah, I was going to ask if clothes is involved, if clothes isn't involved.
I think it is up to whatever Maas wants in the moment.
All right.
So he is currently bare chested.
Bare chested.
And she's being carried back to the estate. And she's like, wow.
I see the romanticies kicking in here.
Right? A little bit.
All right.
So how does the situation sound so far to you?
Hot.
You're like, I left my home where I was working and now there's a hot man here who is taking care of me.
Hell yeah. And I am getting a chance to explore new places. Now, I don't like the idea of being attacked by wild animals, but I was attacked by wolves in my previous place. So I think if I was...
Wait, you mean like in I was like, you grew up in Los Angeles.
Oh, no, not me personally. I mean, let's maybe coyotes, but no, I was never personally attacked by wolves.
Okay, good.
Just
good to know.
Want to make sure the listeners know that we are all safe. Brings a question: are these animals that attacked her also humans? Like, I don't know. Now I'm like wondering, like, does every animal that we kill have a life and a ability to shapeshift? And this
is a fun podcast. This is not a serious questions podcast.
Okay,
but
no serious questions. Strike that.
I do think what's interesting, and I think about this a lot with books. Lots of monsters are just like deemed monsters, but this is like a race of monsters, right? The cereal is a creature with a life and a brain,
right?
But I think the fae and like she goes between fae and fairy, like they're the same thing.
Gotcha.
They see themselves as superior and higher. So he is a high lord, which means he has a lot of like he's on top, right? He's like, I am the most powerful, most perfect thing.
Right.
And he's been the High Lord for a hot minute.
Yeah. I mean, sounds like she landed in the right place.
Could be worse. It's going to be.
Oh, shit.
So Feyre, she's into it. She's digging it. She's being taken care of. A hot guy's flirting with her. She's like, my family's safe. I'm safe. But she overhears Lucien talking to Tamlin about a plan. And like you get the idea that Tamlin is struggling with some decision. And Lucien is like, we're running out of time. And he keeps referencing a she that is going to be mad. And we have no clue who this is at the time.
Uh-oh.
And also in the same conversation, Lucien says this thing that Feyre feels like is kind of weird. And it's like, for a man with a heart of stone, you sure have a soft spot for Feyre.
Ooh,
so
it's there.
Who do you like? Do you want to take a guess? Like, who is this she they may be talking about?
If they're getting worried about someone's timing and whether or not, they have enough time to do X, Y, Z, and they refer to a she, this gives me like, evil grandmother, wicked witch energy. So I don't know. And especially if you say this Tamlin guy is like the shit, right? He's supposed to be the top dog, that he would be scared of someone or something, or at least feel like he has to get shit done for someone else. This person's got a lot of power.
You are very astute. This is a great like stuff you're thinking. So you're like, there must be some sort of evil woman who's maybe a witch or a grandmother type figure who is coming that's gonna like fuck up their shit.
If they don't get their shit done, what is the shit to be done? I don't think we know yet.
We don't know yet. Feyre does not know.
All right, let's figure it out.
So Feyre and Tamlin start getting closer together. He offers to buy her paints because he learns that she likes to paint. Actually, it's a really fun fan theory that Feyre actually is a really shitty painter and no one is kind enough to tell her that she sucks at painting.
Oh, man.
And he offers to teach her how to read because I mentioned earlier she's illiterate and she's kind of embarrassed and she's like, ha ha ha, no, like it's fine.
Interesting.
Which, I mean, if I'm trying to impress somebody, I would not want them to help me learn how to read. Like,
yeah, that is the most difficult thing. I mean, let's
just a little unsexy.
I mean, but you can always make it sexy.
Well, speaking of sexy, this one night happens and Tamlin tells her, you need to stay inside for your safety during this ceremony that is called Calanmai. And this is a ceremony that helps bring power to the Spring Court. So he's like, it is a ceremony that we are holding that is for the Fae and Fairy. There's going to be a lot of Fae and Fairy there. Do not come outside.
Where does she?
She needs to stay like in the estate
room, or okay, so not necessarily like in this. She can be around the house, but not outside of the house.
I think he says like stay in your room, but like stay in the estate.
Yeah.
And it's a ritual that High Lords have to do within their courts, and you know, she's like a silly little goose, and she's like, no, I want to know what's going on out there. Why won't they tell me what's going on? I'm leaving. And so she goes. She leaves, and she's almost immediately cornered by Fairy. That no, she's human. They suss it out right away, and they're like, hey, like, we're gonna have fun with you. And she's like, well, crap. But all of a sudden, there's a deep voice that goes, ah, there you are. I've been looking for you.
Evil witch.
And she turns around and she sees this fairy with dark hair and like purple eyes. And she's like, this is the hottest person I've ever seen in my fucking life. So he like rescues her from these people and he lets her go and tells her to like be safe. Which
he being Tamlin or this other
hot guy. We don't know his name yet.
New hot guy.
He's dark with purple hair. He's like,
man.
And he lets her go.
All right.
Well, purple eyes. He has dark hair.
Purple eyes, dark hair, sounding hot.
So then Lucien runs into her and is like, you stupid bitch, and like hauls her back to the estate. He's like, Lucien, get your ad in there. Yeah. Yes. He's like, you were so dumb. Which in this time she does stay there. She's like, okay, that was bad.
Yeah. Shouldn't have done that.
So later that night, Tamlin appears as she's like getting cookies in the middle of the night because she's.
I mean, I'm a cookie monster, so I'm feeling there. I mean, if you have that sweet tooth, get at it.
She's like, girl. I need to do something.
Yes.
And Tamlin appears in the hallway and he's like raggedly breathing. His hair is a mess. There is paint all over him and he looks kind of wild. His clothes are torn. Marcos, I'd love to ask you, where do you think the Spring Court draws its power from?
Great question.
What do we know about spring? It's the season of
rebirth, growth, green stuff, season of snow melting, water rushing. Does it get it from nature, like the natural like life cycle?
Well, I guess where does life start?
Oh, sex. I see where you're going here. It gets its energy from lots of people having sex.
It's an orgy. Calanmai is basically an orgy.
All right.
So Tamlin is like the center of this because the power.
I mean, he is the
High Lord.
High Lord, and so therefore he's got to bring his virile energy.
Basically.
All right.
He's like, I have to fuck more power into the Spring Court.
All right. That's one way for it to come.
So
get it?
That's funny. I didn't get it at first. So he's like, I could smell you when I was outside and I looked for you.
Oof. That guy's fiending.
He So apparently, like, they didn't want her to go outside because they knew Tamlin would only search out her, and he couldn't do
He
that.
needs to focus his energy on all the other beautiful bodies that are happening to be in the Spring Court.
Which also, as far as we know, he only hooks up with female bodied people.
Interesting.
And I just am wondering if there was like a queer High Lord, if they would hook up with like different bodies and like.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, I feel
why limit yourself?
I just don't know what the rules of the Spring Court are, you know?
Yeah, you know.
How does power work?
All are welcome.
All are welcome. So he like pins her up against the wall, and he's like very feral. He like inhales her neck and kisses her, and he's like consumed with her. And Feyre pushes him away and is like,
she's not into it.
Well, she's like, why would I take someone else's leftovers?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So because he's on her. He's like basically kind of trying to claim her. Like he even like bites her.
Ooh.
And she is like, absolutely not. You think that you own me right now. You won't tell me the truth about things. Get off.
Good for you, Feyre.
You know, he moves away, which is like, you know, we like consent, but he wasn't really doing a lot of consent at first. But we like that he like backed off.
No means no.
No means no. So anyways, but they develop feelings, you know. She's like, I don't not think you're hot.
All right. I mean, she's 18. She's lonely.
You know, there's this hot man that's in her, right? They're getting closer, but Feyre's really aware that something's up. Like she sees people coming in and out of the Spring Court, not looking too great.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
When you say not great, like they're like pretty beat up.
They're pretty beat up.
Interesting.
People are like not returning from border patrols. The ones that do are like really scarred.
Man.
She's like aware, but or Tamlin and Lucien are not budging on telling her anything.
Man, she's got to get some answers.
Right? She's got to go get that cereal again. Like,
yeah. Interesting. Well, I mean, why doesn't she?
I don't know. It's not part of the plot.
All right. Well, now I'm a little upset with Feyre for just sitting around asking questions and not getting answers.
I think she's like suspicious.
Okay. All right.
I think she's doing some questioning, but it's just, you know.
It's not time yet.
Not happening yet.
Okay.
So then as like they're having all this like romance and getting to know each other and she's developing feelings, one day at the estate, the hot guy from Calanmai comes in with a letter on behalf of this woman named Amarantha, who we'll know more about in a little bit.
Got it. This is purple-eyed guy.
Purple-eyed guy.
Yo, she's into him.
Well, Tamlin like hides her. He like disguises her and like pushes her behind a curtain and like tries to hide the fact that she's there.
Yo.
So, but he sees her. That's one of the things that he has this ability to like sense shadows or something.
Superpowers.
And he sees Feyre and like mind seizes her. Like he grabs her mind and is like searching through her brain and her memories, trying to find out who she is. And he has like Tamlin like on the floor begging to like let her go.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
Yo, so talking about High Lord begging on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So this other guy, do we know his name yet?
His name is Rysand.
Rysand.
Or it's Rysand, and I disagree. I think it should be Rysand, but Rysand.
All right. Rysand. Seems to have a lot of power if he can mind seize.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mm-hmm. And he's bringing something, you said?
He brought a letter to her.
Got it.
Which basically is like, your time is almost up.
Oh, shit. Lucien's told him that also. So clearly.
So she's like knocking on the door.
Damn.
And when he mind seizes Feyre, he's like trying to find her name. And she gives up this other name. She says, my name is Claire.
Fascinating.
She's like, she knows I should probably not say my real name.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's Claire. So you're Tamlin in this situation. Rhys has just like come in showing all this power. You know that someone's banging on the door and you couldn't protect Feyre. Like, what would you do?
Whew, man. One, I feel like emasculated right now if I'm Tamlin, right?
Yeah, because Rhys also makes him beg and like put his head on the floor.
Oof.
So it's not just on his knees, his like face is on the floor.
Yeah. And as we know, I've had my face rubbed through carpet. So um, yeah, I would be pretty pissed off. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling like this Reese guy's a lot stronger than me. Or if I was stronger, I wouldn't be on the floor begging. So, um, yeah, I'm feeling a lot like I'm, 10 years old again, and my brother's pinning me to the
Mm-hmm.
ground, and uh,
You'd
uh,
probably feel like you need to take like a desperate measure.
you know, in that moment, if I was fighting with my brother, I would fight dirty. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not the strongest guy around, so I need to
Okay.
try something
You'd
else.
like poison.
Hey, I mean, I wouldn't poison my brother, but I don't know about that. But in this circumstance, I would fucking try anything I could.
Yeah. Well, so Tamlin decides that he is going to send her home. He's like, you are not safe here. I'm going to send you back to your family. It is just going to be safer for you there.
Interesting.
But before he sends her away, they have one night together.
Only one?
Just
Dang.
one.
Just
And
enough, just the tip. Just enough to keep her.
Well, they fuck. And it's
It's how you keep the energy in Spring Court.
I don't know if it works past Calanmai, but like they have sex and she really enjoys the sex. I would say it's a pretty bland scene. It is like P&V. It's just like,
oh, no kidding. Because I mean, have we talked about Fourth Wing? Can we mention that those sex scenes are like fucking
like really good.
Yeah.
I think Sarah J. Maas, because of when she wrote this, I think this was kind of her first step into including sex in her novels. So her later ones are a lot more
explicit
and steamy. Like this one is kind of her first foray into that. And she probably opened the door a little bit for Fourth Wing to have like really sexy scenes.
Fascinating.
I would say this is kind of the start. Like I would pinpoint this book as a big like season changer or culture changer on romantasy books. Like I think this really grew in popularity and people were like, yes, we want romantasy.
All right. So this is like, hot and heavy, but not too explicit.
It's not really explicit like on page.
Hey, but Feyre liked it.
Feyre had a good time.
It was good. Okay.
They both had a good time.
Consent was good. She welcomed it. I'm happy with that.
She uses the word roar a lot. So just that's if you're getting into this book series, all the men roar.
Hey.
Fun fact.
Yeah, I've seen vagina monologues. It's like, everyone has their different, sounds.
They're different sounds. So she goes home. Like he puts her on this cart. What do you call that? A carriage?
Yeah, kind of carriage.
And like sends her home. It's clear that she like wants to say I love you to him, but she just like can't. She's like, I'm leaving. I don't want to.
Yeah, it's like, one night stands are hard.
One night stands are hard.
Yeah.
And so again, her family's living nice. Like he hasn't taken care of them. Her dad has a sweet job.
Hey,
they have a nice home. Elaine is engaged.
Oh, wow.
But as she's there, like she can't stop thinking about Tamlin. She's like, I really feel bad that I left. He's obviously in danger. There's something going on. And then one day she learns that Claire's house, the name she took, a woman named Claire in her village, had burned down and nobody can find her.
Uh-oh.
So she is like, I'm going to be my silly little goose self and I'm going to return to the Spring Court. So she goes over the wall, she returns, and the house is ransacked. And she sees the housekeeper running out.
Tamlin's house is ransacked?
Tamlin's house is completely like glass is broken. It's like obviously there was a struggle there. The housekeeper is running out of the house and she stops her and she says, Amarantha got them and took Tamlin and Lucien under the mountain.
Oh, no.
So what would you like to do now? You're Feyre. You're a silly little goose. What would you like to do?
Gosh, I mean, I'm silly. I liked that fuck. I wanted more. So I'm going to go fucking find Tamlin.
I'm going to go get my man.
Yes.
Okay.
I need that P in my V.
You were like, let's go. So this is where the book has got to get like really confusing. So if you have questions, ask them.
All right.
So Feyre, she's like, okay, I'm just gonna like take a peek under the mountain. I cannot tell you where this mountain is. She just finds it.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Was there a guide? Did she just kind of figures it out?
I don't know. She finds the mountain.
All right.
It's there.
Silly little goose finds her way.
And she's like, I'm going to go see how bad it is and just like go suss it out. Like try to be like spy and secretive. She's found immediately, obviously.
She's not very good spy.
Not very good spy. They like have heightened senses. Like she's sounds like a human. And so she's brought down there before Amarantha, and Tamlin is like right next to her. Like Amarantha's like in this court and she's on a throne, and Tamlin's like in this little like rinky dink chair next to her.
Interesting.
And Feyre is like, he's not acknowledging me at all. And she's like, hello, like lover, like what we were just exchanging sweet nothings. What's going on?
Yeah.
Tamlin doesn't say anything, doesn't acknowledge her. And obviously she's also not saying this to Tamlin. She's like in the middle of this court full of ton of Fae and Feyre. She's in front of this woman named Amarantha, who is this like dark red hair. And then she looks behind Amarantha because she's like, there's something catching my eye. And on the wall behind Amarantha is the dead body of Claire.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Shit just got real.
And it was like not a kind death.
Oof.
So Feyre's like, this is Amarantha. Would you like to know anything about Amarantha?
I need to know a lot. So one, I'm just going to say a couple of things that I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Are Tamlin and Amarantha related?
No. So Amarantha, maybe I'll tell you this part. I will give you a little spiel.
Yeah.
So it turns out that Amarantha has taken the High Lords and all of the courts like hostage.
Gotcha.
Like she managed to convince them to like drink this wine at the party, which was a masquerade party where everyone's wearing masks. Because all the court, she's like, everyone's wearing masks here. I didn't get the dress code.
Eyes wide shut.
And has kept them locked beneath the mountain for 50 years.
Whoa, it's been 50 years
Since like she's locked them up for 50 years.
Got you.
So she gave Tamlin 50 years to find someone to break the curse, which would involve having a human girl fall in love with him. He sat on his ass for 49 years before he started really looking.
Time was running out. This is the time that was running out.
Yes. It turns out that Amarantha wants Tamlin to like be her mate. Well, and this is basically kind of her like sick way of getting him to come to her willingly. Like he needed to like fail and accept his position with her. Man. And if he could break the curse, then everybody would be free. But right now he's not breaking the curse. So Amarantha is going to have all of the fairy high lords under her control, like in their courts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Which is a lot of power.
I mean, she sounds super powerful. One, if she's been able to capture all the high lords. Two, yo, Tamlin, why are you wasting your time? What was he doing?
It's a little depressing.
Well, I mean, mental health's important, so I'll respect that.
For 49 years?
I mean, you know, I've been stuck in my own shit for a while.
Well, so the human girl had to really hate Fairy. So that Tamlin was sending out scouts to find a human girl
who would be
angry enough to kill one.
Yeah.
So the wolf that she killed was one of his scouts who had volunteered for the position, kind of knowing that it was for the greater good.
Man, sacrificial.
I
respect that wolf.
And he also got eaten. So,
I mean,
like, I respect him a lot.
Damn. So now, I mean, this is a big reveal, right? Amarantha has, really fucked shit up. And Tamlin's kind of acquiescing now. I mean, he's sitting there next to her. Feyre's there, like, looking for his eyes, and he's just, like, despondent.
He's despondent. He's also under her
spell.
Kind of her spell. He is able to, like, see, and he could make decisions, but he's really aware that if he shows too much, like, affection for Feyre or tries to help her, Amarantha's just going to kill her on the spot.
Oh, shit.
But Amarantha likes a little game.
All right.
She likes a little fun. She likes tormenting people. Oh, and also that hot guy is here again.
Purple Eyes.
Purple Eyes. We realize his name is Rhysand, and he's the High Lord of the Night Court, which is considered like super evil. There are demons in it. Like all of his subjects are like bloodthirsty demons. No one goes there because they're like, that's the bad court. The spring court's the fun court with all the flowers.
Flowers and the sex.
And he is like Amarantha's right-hand man and is also called Amarantha's whore.
In the book?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, that says it all.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but it should also be noted that he's also one of the High Lords that is under her spell.
Fascinating. This makes sense now. The whole, Tamlin begging Rhys to let her go. But if I was Rhys, I would be a little jealous of Tamlin.
Oh, why?
Because I'm, Amarantha's whore, but she still wants Tamlin more than me. Like that ain't the good vibe.
I totally see that. And one of the things that I will push in here, because I do think it's important, is that he is also under her control and spell. So even if he said no, like he couldn't say no. She's not a consent queen.
Fascinating.
So Amarantha is like, okay, you can do these 3 tasks or you can solve my riddle. And if you solve my riddle, I will release all the High Lords.
Dope.
If you do the 3 tasks, I will also release the High Lords, but like she doesn't give a timeline. I think the riddle, she's like, I'll release them right away.
Got you.
Would you like to hear the riddle?
Yes, please.
There are those who seek me a lifetime, but we never meet, and those I kiss, but who trample me beneath ungrateful feet. At times I see to favor the clever and the fair, but I bless all of those who are brave enough to dare. By large, my ministrations are soft-handed and sweet, but scorned, I become a difficult beast to defeat. For though each of my strike lands a powerful blow, when I kill, I do it slow.
Interesting.
Would you like to solve this riddle, or would you like to do the first task?
I'm very bad at riddles.
You're like, first task.
Yeah.
That's what Feyre does too. She's like, I don't really know.
I mean, if I only get one answer and then like I lose the chance, I'm going to choose the task.
That's fair. That's fair. So your first task is to fight a midden guard, which is like,
go back. I want to choose the riddle. I don't want to fight anything.
Okay, well, it's like a giant terrifying worm. Have you ever seen SpongeBob?
Hell yeah.
Okay, you know the episode where there's like a worm terrifying the city?
Yes.
I kind of imagine it looking like this.
Oh no.
But it's like apparently it's giant and gray and has like sharp teeth and it's blind.
I'm also picturing Dune here.
Okay, Dune's probably a better representation, but I was reading this. I was like, the SpongeBob worm.
Naturally.
So she's like in this like maze and it's like a muddy pit and she has to figure out how to kill this giant worm. And everyone's watching her and like taking bets. And she covers herself in mud because she realizes the worm can like smell her. So she covers herself in mud.
And then she very Katniss energy.
Very Katniss energy. And then she like there's some like broken like wood down in the pit.
Yeah.
And she breaks it off and makes kind of like a trap for it.
Nice.
Or not, it's not wood, it's bones. It's like the bones of the last people who did not pass this test.
I mean, use what you got.
She's like breaking bones on her legs. And she tricks the worm, the midden guard, and it dies and she survives, but she has a broken arm.
Oh shit.
So the thing is with these tasks is that they're not one after the other. They're like, we're gonna make you wait for the next one. So she is in her cell that they've given her, like little like cell with like some, I don't know, rags to sleep on, and her arm is broken. And she's like not doing well. She's like, if you don't get an arm attended to, it's not good. And who should visit her in the middle of the night?
Tamlin?
No.
Oh.
Rhysand.
Rhysand. Purple eyes.
And he offers her a deal. He says, once she has gotten out of here, every month she will spend 2 weeks with him at the night court in return for healing her arm.
Man, talk about like selling yourself here.
She's like, that's a lot of time. Like, how about we just do 1 week?
All right. Okay.
So
in for a bargain.
right. Why do you think Rhysand would like come into her cell and like offer her this deal?
I think Rhysand's into her.
You think
One.
okay.
I think two, I don't think he realizes that this is the girl that Tamlin could break the curse with.
You don't think he realizes that?
I don't know. Maybe part of me thinks no.
Okay. Okay. No, okay.
I'm wrong, clearly.
No, you're fine. You're like, this is wrong.
Uh-oh.
So Rhysand also doesn't like being under Amarantha's power. He wants to be free. So if he's like, this is our shot to make sure we get free, I'm going to help you out.
It's like he wants her to be healthy.
Yes.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Okay. I was way off.
Maybe I'm not telling it well.
No. You're doing great.
So because she makes like a bargain with him, she gets this crazy tattoo on her arm that like goes down like from her elbow to her hand, and it has like an eye on the palm of her hand. So she's like,
the tattoos from the healing?
Yeah, apparently in the Night Court, when you make a deal, you get tattoos.
Hey, I mean, I like tattoos.
Right? I get to pick it. I don't know if I want an eye on my palm, but
yeah, that gives me Pan's Labyrinth vibes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So she is learning really quickly that she needs to be clear on her terms. She's like, great, I've made deals with 2 fairy now, and I'm really got the short end of the stick both times. So Rhysand is invested in Feyre being able to complete all the tasks. He makes sure the guards aren't messing with her. She gets at least 1 meal a day. Hey. And then each night there is a masquerade party that Amarantha does to kind of torment people. And he takes her out there and he makes her dress up, as she puts it, in a heathen's god plaything. So like she is wearing really risque clothes. He is using this to kind of torment Tamlin because he also fucking hates Tamlin. He's like, okay.
I mean, yeah.
And I think there's a part of Rhysand that we don't really learn this till like later in the book or later in the series, that is doing this in a way that she was going to be brought to those parties anyway. And in this way, he could keep her safe by being like, you're going to look like my sex toy, but no one else is going to mess with you.
Fascinating.
So it's a little twisted, but
there's a lot of like S&M kind of things going on here.
Love it. But anyways.
I mean, if you're into that.
So the second task, she like comes out to the court and she sees Lucien is like chained up to like the floor. And have you ever seen like one of those what's that show where like the scary man makes you do a task or you die?
The Saw?
The Saw. It's kind of like the Saw.
Yeah.
That's actually what's gonna happen. So Feyre has to solve something or Lucien dies.
Fuck.
Because Amarantha's like, you also like Lucien, you were friends. So Feyre has to see which lever to pull. Like there's like 3 levers and she has to pull the right one to stop the like falling like spikes that are gonna smush him.
Oh shit.
But do you remember something I told you about our main character?
Feyre?
Yeah. So there's 3 levers and there's like signs above each one of them. Do you remember something about our main character that might be a hindrance to her solving this?
She can't read.
She can't read.
That's right.
So luckily, Feyre is friends with a High Lord who can read.
There you go.
And through like her tattoo, he like helps her like guide her to the right one because it's like the one that doesn't shock her. So there's 1 task left. She's like depressed. She's like depressed and sad in her thing. She's like, I don't know if I'm going to do this. Like I only got through the last one because Rhysand like little eye thing helped me out. She's like, wow. As another note, like one night in her cell, she gets some music in her cell that she can hear.
I love music.
Yeah, and it keeps her like alive to the morning. She's like, this is what I'm clinging to right now is this music.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like going back to that first question. Like, do I go with Tamlin or do I just stay and die?
Yeah.
You have to have something to live for.
Gotta have some hope. Gotta have something to live for. So the music really helps her.
All right. I'm with it.
Before we get to the third task, Tamlin at one of these parties is eventually able to steal Feyre away from a moment. And he's able to like get her into a hallway. Now, if your loved one was going through all these tasks to save you and you had a moment to steal them away, what would you do?
I'd tell them I love them.
Tell me you love them? Okay.
I'd be like explicit and say, yo, you are doing a lot for us and for me. And I want you to know that I want to put my P in your V.
Is there any part of you that would like, I don't know, try to help your loved one escape?
Interesting. So here's the tension. I know that this person could help break the curse.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know. Am I using them if I don't let them leave? Or if I don't help them break out?
It's a good question. I think I would try to get my person to leave.
I guess so. I mean, that's true sacrificial love.
Well, Tamlin doesn't do that.
Fuck.
Tamlin makes out with her and he's like, I can't stand to see you as like Rhysand's whore anymore. Like I need to like kiss you. Like I hate that his hands have been all over you.
Have they gotten?
No, Feyre and Rhysand have not, but how she is dressed, like
I see. It's more evocative and
yeah, and like how Rhysand kind of like treats her at the parties. He's like
I don't
like this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So Rhysand like sees this and he's like, hey, Tamlin, you fucking idiot. And then he pretends to like make out with Feyre as Amarantha like comes in so that Tamlin doesn't like screw them all, like make Amarantha so mad that she just like kills him on the spot, you know?
Yeah.
So now the next day, third task. Would you like to do a third task or would you like to solve the riddle?
Oh, I didn't even know the riddle was still an option.
The riddle's still an option.
What happens if I get it wrong?
I don't think nothing.
Okay. Then I would try to solve the riddle.
Do you have an answer for the riddle?
What I think it is?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a weed or something.
Oh, okay. Some sort of plant?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. That's wrong.
Oh, well,
that's
naturally.
Incorrect.
Okay, so then
you're doing the third task. Okay.
I need to solve the third task.
So this day, 3 fairies are dragged out in front of her. Each head is covered. And Amarantha says that Feyre has to put a knife through everyone's heart. They are all innocent, but she has to kill them. Mm-hmm. The first guy begs for his life. Dead. The second person prays, but she's like nodding at Feyre, like saying, like, do it.
Wow.
Feyre does it, kills her quickly. She's not handling this well. It's a really big thing for her to go through.
I mean, this is uber intense.
And the last person, they take off the hood, and it's Tamlin.
No.
And she has to decide to kill him or let all of Paranth, like the Fairylands, come under Amarantha's control.
No fucking way.
So we're nearing the end of the book. What would you do? Would you have any thoughts?
Shit. I mean, first, I hate Amarantha for putting me in this situation.
Yeah, right? You're great. You're willing to sacrifice Tamlin to like prove a point? Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it's like, one, I clearly have feelings for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the one for the many. It's super intense that I don't want to have to ever be in this situation.
Yeah.
Gosh. I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it?
I wouldn't, no.
You'd let all of Paranth come under her control?
Yeah, I would.
It's romantic.
I'm hopeless romantic.
So Feyre goes, I love you, and she stabs him.
What? But not fatally.
Well, do you remember this? She heard something really interesting from Lucian earlier when they were talking about Amarantha, but she didn't know. Do you remember what Lucian said?
Tamlin has a special power?
For a man with a heart of stone, you sure have a soft spot for Feyre.
Fascinating. That's the special power.
His heart is made out of stone.
So she stabbed him in the heart.
Mm-hmm. Because Amarantha made this bet that she wouldn't steal Tamlin and she'd win. So, but because she does not like being bested by human, she starts to beat the hell out of her. She's like killing her.
Holy shit.
Because she's like, yeah, I said that I would release the fairy on my terms. I didn't say right away.
Right. And I didn't say you'd get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
So she's
getting
dying.
her ass beat.
And some reason she hears like Rhysand like shouting her name, and she's like losing consciousness, and she finally figures out the riddle's answer. And like her last breath, she goes, "It's love."
Love.
The answer to the riddle is love.
Whoa.
I didn't get that either. I don't put that much thought into book riddles. I'm like, I will eventually know the answer. I don't think about it.
Yeah.
So she says this as she lays dying, and the curse is broken because that one Amarantha said, like, I will release
Break the
everyone
curse.
immediately.
Yeah.
So everyone is like removing their masks and they're getting their powers back, and they're ready to destroy Amarantha.
Yo, she has fucked with too many people.
And that's what Tamlin does. Tamlin like turns into his beast form and just like eviscerates
Destroys
her.
Man, that is intense.
It's
Shit
intense.
just got real, folks.
It was really intense. And then he is like holding Feyre's body. He's crying. And one by one, all
so
the High
romantic.
Lords give Feyre like a little bit of their magic. Like it's kind of like to honor that her.
That she saved everyone.
And it's like a little ember and she's alive again. Except
Whoa.
something has changed. What do you think would taking High Lord fairy magic do to you?
Make you have purple eyes, perhaps. Maybe change your hair color.
Maybe. So she's now a fairy. She's a fae.
No kidding.
Mhm.
Transformed. She's one of them.
And she can live with Tamlin forever, and they go back to the Spring Court. And so this is the end of our story.
Oh shit! I want to know more.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yo, this was great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you think you'll go and read the book?
I do actually.
Okay.
I'm genuinely interested in one. I feel like it's so good to know like the plot line, the details.
And there's a lot I left out.
But you get the gist of the story, right? Now that all my friends are reading this, I know one. I mean, even just knowing, romanticy, like I'm into it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know that she's making this a much bigger book series. So there are currently 4 Court of Thorn and Roses books. Technically 4.5. There's a little novella in there. That's not worth reading.
Okay. Good to know. But not all my friends are reading that one.
That's true. Yeah. No one really talks about that book. It's a little weird. And when you read it, we'll talk about it.
All right. But this was fantastic. And
Awesome.
I will say there's a reason why all my friends are reading this. It sounds like a good book.
It's pretty interesting. All right. Well, I have the book if you want to borrow it.
All right.
But this has been All My Friends Are Reading. Thank you, Marcos.
Oh, hell yeah. Thanks, Wylie.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, you can head over to our TikTok and Instagram at All My Friends Are Reading. Please share this episode with your friends. Leave us 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening to. And until next time, stay busy, bookworms.